what is being reported on national television or in daily newspapers, mainstream press, that Black newspapers, including the Journal and Guide, have been covering for years.
This is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, your media hub for all things Black entrepreneurship, politics, news, and events in Hampton Roads and beyond.
When I say black, y'all say Wall Street. Black
Wall Street.
Black Wall Street. When I say black, y'all say Wall Street. Black.
Welcome to this 87th edition of Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham, sponsored by Apex Financial Group of Virginia, Milestone Mental Health Agency, as well as the COO Team. We will get to hear from two of our sponsors a bit later in the show. I want to thank you all so much for your feedback, particularly as we are undergoing the pandemic. I've been receiving a number of emails, phone calls, and notes via our social media platforms regarding the programming. Glad to know that it is benefiting you, and certainly want to just advise that you continue to send those notes. You can reach out to me directly at Blair, B-L-A-I-R, at blackbrand.biz, B-I-Z. Again, send your show ideas, questions that you might have, content that you might be looking for. Blair, B-L-A-I-R, at blackbrand.biz. We are changing focus a little bit. And of course, we've been looking primarily at business resources to empower you all during these times. Now we're going to shift a bit, and we're going to focus on a series that I've titled Best in Black Business. And in that vein, I want to encourage you to download our app. The Black Brand app is available on Apple as well as Android platforms. We've been getting a ton of calls, as you would imagine, about how to locate Black-owned businesses. And here in the last 2 to 3 weeks, we have added a number of businesses to our app that run the gamut. So again, I want to encourage you. It is a free download. It's available on Apple as well as Android, and it is simply Black Brand. So take a look there as you are looking for businesses to support both now and in the future, and we will connect with you that way as well. So to start our conversation today is one of my favorites. This is Miss Brenda Andrews. She is the publisher, owner, and CEO of the 120-year-old New Journal and Guide weekly newspaper. Brenda is guiding Norfolk's oldest Black business through a challenging media environment that is reframing the way people get their news and information. The Guide is a Hampton Roads institution that advocates for truth in news from the Black perspective. She's a native of Lynchburg, Virginia, and a graduate of California State University at Sacramento with degrees in English and psychology. In addition to her lengthy career as a Black press publisher, she taught school for a short time after graduating from college and served 4.5 years as a non-commissioned officer in the U.S. Army. She serves as national treasurer on the executive board of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the NNPA, representing over 200 Black newspapers across the nation. In 2019, she was selected by her peers as NNPA Publisher of the Year. Welcome, Miss Andrews. How are you?
Thank you. I am just wonderful, and I do appreciate the opportunity to share a few moments with you and your audience today, Blair.
I am so glad to have you. You represent so much of what this show is about. And so let's just go ahead and start the conversation. Talk to us a little bit further about sort of the mission of the New Journal and Guide newspaper.
Well, the Journal and Guide and all Black newspapers that are a part of our association, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, our mission was actually given to us in 1827 when the first I started to say African-American. However, I always have to remind people in 1827 we were not African Americans. We were Africans in America because we were still enslaved in most of the country. But in 1827, in the state of New York, the first black newspaper was founded, Freedom's Journal, and two publishers said at that time, for too long, others have spoken for us. Now it is time we speak for ourselves. And so 193 or whatever years beyond that point, we still operate. The Journaling Guide follows that mission that no one can or should tell our story outside of the black perspective. And we are committed to, and have been since 1900, making that a part of who we are.
Wow, that's profound. Kind of ties right into my next question, pertinent to the significance of media in the black community in the current times that we're living in. So not just obviously the pandemic, but also where we're really confronting this issue of racism head on. How do you see the Guide and the other newspapers that are a part of the association participating in or moving along this effort?
You know, that's a great question, because what is being reported currently on national television or in daily newspapers, mainstream press, are the kinds of things and issues and concerns that come out of our community that black newspapers, including the Journaling Guide, have been covering for years.
Right.
It's a good thing to have that national exposure. You know, if you go back to the civil rights movement, when we could actually see on the television screen fire hoses and dogs attacking children and black people as they were seeking just the right to vote, just first-class citizenship, just the right to go to the schools that they chose to go to. It was when the national press put that before the American public and the world that people truly began to understand. And we're seeing that currently as well. I think what we see today is very important to get people to understand what they can't or refuse to understand when it's not smack in their faces. The black press has been telling these stories, and the interesting thing, Blair, is that there's going to come a time, a moment, I don't know when, but the cameras from CNN, the cameras from MSNBC, the daily newspapers across the country are going to grow weary of telling our story as if they could actually tell our story, but they're doing as good a job as they are positioned to do, I might add. But when that happens, who will continue to tell the story? It's going to be the black press. And the good thing about the black press in the 21st century is that we understand that print is not the only way to reach people. And so many of our newspapers, and the Journaling Guide is also moving in that direction as rapidly as we can. You know, we're on all forms of social media. You yourself, your organization has an app. Many black newspapers have apps. They have podcasts. They have many different ways to get the information that we have been giving since those two black men in New York in 1827 said, for too long others have spoken for us. So technology is working for us. And I believe fully that there will always be a need for black people to tell their own story. You know, our story is so much broader and so much more than protest, although that's a significant part of it. Our story is also about overcoming odds and moving into positions there's the love of being African American that comes out of black press and black media that will continue to occur after the cameras that we now see are shut down.
Wow, great point. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've just tuned in, this is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, talking today with Brenda Andrews, who is the CEO of the New Journal and Guide, the oldest black newspaper in the country. And we are sharing, we're sharing about the impact of media in our community. I want to ask you this question, Brenda. Black Brand is undergoing a 150-year planning process, and the goal is economic equity. And one of the pillars focuses squarely on media and technology. We really believe that this idea of creating and sharing our own narrative is definitely going to be part and parcel of how we sort of move the needle, right, and close some of these gaps. Is that something that you could agree to, looking at it from an economic vantage point?
Absolutely. Let me just make one little correction. We are the oldest African-American newspaper in the state of Virginia and the third in the country, which still is a lot of history.
Yeah, a ton of history.
But as far as your question about the economic part of advancement, the civil rights movement and the current movement that we see had three components. The first, so far the current movement has not addressed that third component, but we protest and we demonstrate, we march, we get out there. But the economic component, the third component that came out of economic boycotts, was a very, very important part of the civil rights movement of the past, and it will have to be an important part of the Black Lives Movement if it's going to be successful. In order to do what needs to be done, and what needs to be done is self-empowerment, not necessarily, definitely making sure that the resources, that the ability to open businesses and to generate revenue, to run businesses, to allow us to do what and how it needs to be done for our community. All of those things are important and costly, and it won't happen without economic ability. And so your 150 plan, and I did attend your program that you had last year where you announced that. I think it's a great idea. I want to know more about it, because one of the shortcomings that we have as a people is the lack of strategic planning and the lack of making sure that we have short-term goals and long-term goals. And when people hear 150, wow, that's a long time.
That's a really long time.
However, the world continues, and I'm not so sure that it's going to continue.
Oh, you sound like me now. I was almost opposed to it for that reason.
Yeah, but if the world continues, and we're going to assume the world will continue, we may not be a part of that world. However, there will come a time when what we do today will affect what is happening then. That's why the black press has been so very important in the past, and why it's so very, very important now. Because what we do in 2020, how we create the history, how we create what is happening and tell that story will be a part of 50 years from now, 100 and 150 years from now. And so I applaud you for being ambitious in that thinking. We need to enlarge our thinking beyond survival, which is a word I truly do dislike very much, because we have survived. Now it's time to move beyond that and move beyond that mentality. And the only way to move forward and to move beyond today is to think big. You know, I tell my any young person that I have a chance to talk with, think big. It might sound like it can't happen, but it won't happen if you don't envision it, because everything starts with a thought. That's how things are created.
Good point. Man, I'm thinking about the plan, and I'm thinking about ways that we probably need to work together in developing it in light of just your vantage point and so forth. So I will certainly close the loop on that so that we can talk further.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to ask you this. COVID has no doubt impacted all business. And I know that it likely had an impact on the New Journal and Guide. What was that impact, and kind of what were you forced to do in order to maintain your mission?
Well, I had to make a very, very heartbreaking decision that I would actually cease publication for a 6-week period. And the purpose was in order to come back stronger. One of the reasons that the COVID-19 disruptions and the COVID-19 disparities in health have come about is because many black people are at risk of health issues such as high blood pressure, diabetes, you name it, we've got it. And so when you have a pandemic that the world has never seen and prayerfully will never see again, when you have that kind of pandemic, you have to look at your at-risk factors. And the Journaling Guide and many black businesses are at risk. We're at risk of not just the Journaling Guide, but many black businesses are at risk of going from 1 month to the next month to the next month. And when you're in, and we were and still are in the midst of a pandemic, it became necessary to look strategically at where will the Journaling Guide after 120 years be at the end of 2020. And so looking at it realistically, looking at my scheduling of advertising, because most businesses closed or at least shut down the operations that they were. Advertising nosedived for all media. And so for the Journaling Guide, which was already at risk, we became susceptible to being victimized by the virus. And so it was necessary to make a decision, which I thought and prayed over very, very much, because the Journaling Guide over 120 years has survived. We survived the Spanish pandemic, flu pandemic. We survived World War I, World War II, Korean War, every war. We've survived Jim Crow. We've survived the era of lynchings. We've survived J. Edgar Hoover, who of the FBI, who took it upon himself to try very hard to eliminate black newspapers and never missed an issue. And on my watch in 2020, I certainly did not want my legacy of the Journaling Guide's 30-some years that I've been here. I did not want my legacy to be that COVID-19 victimized the Journaling Guide when Jim Crow and J. Edgar Hoover and World War I and World War II and so forth and so forth and so forth had not done that. So the closure for a short
Brenda,
time.
we got to take a break. Oh, this is so good, though. Brenda, will you promise me that you're going to come back on our show?
I do, Blair.
We've got to finish this conversation.
That I had 20 minutes of talk in me, but as you can see,
you've got an hour. We'll talk more, though. I want to thank you so much for coming on Black Wall Street today, and we will be back in just a few moments with Money Talk.
Excellence is being able to perform at a high level for a long period of time.
The next level success is just a step away. Stay tuned. Black Wall Street Today will be right back after a word from our underwriting sponsors.
When the conversation is good and the friends are even better, you'll find a wine that brings it all together. Shoe Crazy Wine. Remember that name. Shoe Crazy Wine. Available at Costco, Kroger, and these other fine retailers.
We know you love jazz music, so let's try some jazz music with a little R&B flavor. Baby, baby, I'm falling in love. You got me falling in love. You made me. What about some jazz music with a little trap flavor? Jazz and Caribbean. Hey, we mix it up. So, online, look for Grandpa Crunk and enjoy the great jazz music. Grandpa Crunk. Jazz music.
Peace. I'm your brother Crunk. I have a new podcast called Snatched. Sorry.
You're about to get snatched.
It's the best of my YouTube channel, Crumb TV.
You're listening to the Snatched podcast.
In audio mastered format.
Snatch and run!
On Blueberry, Android, the Edgy Podcast, Stitcher, Digital Podcast, and Speaker.
Ever experienced what snatching is like?
Welcome back to this 87th edition of Black Wall Street Today. It's time now for hashtag Money Talk. This segment is sponsored by Apex Financial Group of Virginia. And joining us now is Mr. Michael Gray. How are you?
Good. And yourself?
I am doing well. Happy Wednesday to you. It's always great to have you on. I understand today we're going to focus on financial literacy. Important topic.
Financial literacy, we're going to cover 5 parts of financial literacy, which includes estate planning, retirement planning. We're going to talk about actually planning for emergencies, emergency planning. We're going to talk about Social Security planning as well as debt relief planning.
That's perfect. I'm excited.
Okay, so we'll start with financial literacy. Okay, let's define what financial literacy in its simplest terms means. Financial literacy in its simplest terms, it means a clear understanding of your financial condition. A clear understanding of your financial condition. Notice the word clear understanding. There's a difference between reality and perception. Reality is real. Reality is actual. Reality is facts. Perception is what we perceive to know. Many times, it's what we don't know that can hurt us in the financial realm. Now, so financial literacy requires planning. It requires us to plan. Most people do not plan to fail. They fail to plan. Have in mind, financial literacy requires also for us to have the right tools in place. For an example, when we speak about estate planning an estate, the sole purpose of estate planning is to preserve your estate and not to lose your estate.
Okay.
Tool that we use to help individuals and our clients to preserve their estate is a simple tool called a living trust. A living trust will keep you out of probate, whereas a will put you in probate. And the key thing here is that you want to avoid probate because it can be very, very expensive and time delaying. So if you're interested in estate planning, give us a call today at 757-640-0207 for a free consultation, and we'll go into more details about estate planning.
Okay.
The second item I want to talk about is retirement planning. We at Apex Financial Group, our main concern here is safe money management. Safe money management. Safe money management requires us to make sure that our clients are getting what we call growth, accumulation. We also want to make sure that our clients' principal, what they invest, is protected, so the principal is never lost. Also, too, our main goal when it comes to retirement planning is to make sure that our clients receive a lifetime of income that will last them for their whole life during their retirement. We apply a tool here called the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 simply states that you divide the interest rate into 72, and that will determine how many years it takes for your money to double itself. And so we apply that rule in many times to helping our clients to have a better retirement, and also through the growth and the contribution phase of retirement planning. Also, too, we have a concern today because of the pandemic. A lot of individuals in the marketplace today are concerned about losing value in their accounts when it comes to the 401ks, the IRA, the TSPs, and this is due to market volatility. In our society today with the pandemic, we have what we call wide swings in the stock market. The market goes up, market comes down. And in many cases, people are losing up to 20 to 30% values in their accounts that's tied to these markets. What we do here is we try to keep our clients out of harm's way. And that way they can have their principal protected and at the same time realize a good growth. And so if you're interested in retirement planning, again, you can call us today for a free consultation. The number here is 757-640-0207. Call today. The other item I want to talk about when it comes to financial literacy is a lot of times we have a tendency not to plan for emergencies. Now, simply stated, most cases, we're told to put 3 months to 6 months aside for emergency situations of our income. But today, with the pandemic, so many people are experiencing hardships. And with this new CARES Act, the CARES Act, this is an opportunity for a lot of individuals today that are having some difficulties or some hardship due to this pandemic because of loss of income or loss of job. With the CARES Act gives an opportunity for individual to withdraw up to $100,000, okay, out of their retirement account, whether it be a 401k, TSP, IRA, due to a hardship without any penalties, even before age 59 and a half. So you can withdraw up to $100,000 without any penalties if there's a hardship out of a qualified retirement account. And so we have a lot of our clients with the CARES Act. And if you're experiencing hardship today and like to know more about that, please give us a call today at 757-640-0207. The other item that's on the schedule today is what we call Social Security planning.
Okay.
Now, a lot of times people don't look at Social Security as a planning tool, but Social Security is really a planning tool. And the reason for that being is because so many people don't have any idea whether they want to start their benefits at age 62, whether at age 66, or some want to wait to age 70. Regardless what the case may be, we can give you a free Social Security review. And this will help you to determine which is right for you, whether it be early, whether it be at full retirement age, or whether it be at age 70. And so we have some different programs here. For example, that could be a help to many people. One, the spousal benefit, 2 qualifying spouses. We've got 2 qualifying spouses. The spouses with the highest amount of PIA, which is the Department Insurance amount, or Social Security benefit, can get up to half of the other spouse's retirement if their benefits are lower than the spouse. So that's an automatic way you can increase your benefits. And again, if you're interested in spousal benefits, give us a call today at 757-640-0207. Also, too, when it comes to Social Security benefits, a lot of times there's so many different programs here that we have. One is called the Survival Benefit for Married Couples. With this benefit, if one of the spouses pass away, the spouses that have the high, let's say the spouse that passed away and that is deceased, had a higher benefit amount than the surviving spouse, then the surviving spouse can come up to the higher amount. That's called the Surviving Benefit for Married Couples. There's a whole lot of things concerning Social Security. That's why Social Security to me is a planning tool. Another benefit for Social Security is called the Retirement Benefit for a divorced spouse. If you're divorced, it's possible that you could receive a Social Security retirement based on your former spouse work record as long as certain rules are met. You must have been married for at least 10 years before you divorce. And basically what that means is that you can come up and get an increase of 50% of your former spouse benefits without any effect on your former spouse benefits at all. So again, that's another benefit.
That's powerful.
That's another benefit that you can get just by calling us today at 757-640-0207. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, Blair, is debt relief planning. Here at Apex, we have programs that can help individuals get out of debt 9 years or less without any additional money coming out of their current budget. And so with the debt relief program, can you imagine if you didn't have a car payment, a mortgage payment, credit cards payment, a student loans payment, can you imagine how you can take that additional money, you can invest that money, and create more wealth for yourself? So here we have a program called Debt Relief, and we can show you how you can get out of debt, including paying off mortgages and all the other debts that you're concerned about, whether it be auto loans, student loans, personal loans, credit cards. We can show you how you can retire those debts in less than 9 years, okay, without spending any additional money. And so if you're interested in debt relief, give us a call today at 757-640-0207. And the main thing here is that, again, we want to make sure that we put a plan together, because most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And so by taking 1 hour, we'll give you that free hour, no cost. You can call us for a free consultation on any of these things that I talked about, or any other concerns that you may have concerning your finances, and we'd be more than happy to sit down with you for 1 hour and discuss these things with you. So again, call us today at 757-640-0207, and we'd be more than happy to talk with you. And so Blair, that basically wraps up some of the things that I wanted to just talk about briefly in reference to financial literacy. If there's a question on your end, if you have a question, I'd be more than happy to address that. If you have something that I've talked about.
Super important information. I think it bears repeating. We know that this is probably the number one issue facing the Black community is lack of financial literacy and lack of financial planning. So I think everything you stated today was spot on. We do have about 2 minutes remaining. Do you care to give us an update on things in terms of federal legislation and perhaps any additional stimulus monies, any update with regard to the PPP program or the EIDL program?
Okay, yes. With the PPP program, that money is still available. Businesses can still apply for the PPP as well as the EIDL program. Money is still available for both those programs. And again, most business owners can apply for both. Also, too, with the stimulus for wage earners, employees, they still looking at and considering also maybe doing a second wave, a stimulus payment of $1,200. That have not yet been approved through the House and the Senate, but the talk is that it's going to probably be another check coming to most Americans for $1,200. So that's a quick update on the stimulus programs.
Okay. All right. Take that. Sounds fantastic. All right, what do we have to look forward to next week as we're wrapping up here?
Next week, we're going to talk about some other key ingredients, key tools that we can use in helping us to build what I call an airtight financial plan. And next week, we're going to continue to talk about things that we need to include in our financial plans that will give us the retirement and the wealth that we're trying to create.
Okay, I think that's awesome. All right, well, this has been another edition of #Money Talk with Michael Gray. This has been sponsored by Apex Financial Group of Virginia. You can get more information online at apexfinancialgroupofva.com, or, again, you're welcome to call for a free consultation at 757-640-0207. Again, that's area code 757-640-0207. All right. Thank you so much, sir. We'll be back in just a moment.
The biggest financial asset that you have going for you by miles is the value of your own earning power over the years.
If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. More important business insights are on the way. Stay locked in. Black Wall Street Today will be right back after these messages.
Hey, this is Seiko, DJ Seiko Varner, the producer of this podcast. So when I'm not producing podcasts, I'm actually DJing wedding receptions, corporate events, proms, other formals, and I would love to take care of your special event. So our company is Positive Vibes Incorporated, www.positivevibes.net. That's www.positivevibes.net. We've been performing for over 25 years, and we would love to bring our expertise and our fun to your special event. Positive Vibes Incorporated, www.positivevibes.net. Peace and prosperity.
And now, more Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham on Smooth 88.1 WHOV.
Welcome back. It's the 87th edition of Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham. Our focus today, this is Volume 1 of Best in Black Business. I'm so excited to have one of our sponsors on the line for our final segment. She is none other than Miss Lori Ruffin, the CEO and founder of the COO Team. She's super passionate about helping visionary leaders fulfill their purpose and focus on their passion, utilizing her corporate, national, and international nonprofit experience to help small businesses and nonprofits get the operating systems they need to grow and expand. Welcome, Lori. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Blair. So glad to be with you as always.
It's always super on point. And so I know today we wanted to just kind of have a general conversation about the importance of strategic planning. I know for me, when I'm thinking about a lot of the small businesses that we work with and that access to capital issue, it typically it points right at sort of the lack of a strategic plan. So I want to hear from you. What are you seeing as you are empowering business owners and nonprofits to create the strategic plan? How are they utilizing it to the benefit of their communities?
Yes, definitely. Well, so Blair, what I find is that oftentimes leaders of nonprofits, especially founders, are visionary types. They are folks that see things before they materialize. They are pioneers. They have a knack for creating something out of nothing, and they have huge ideas and dreams and concepts.
Yeah.
Sometimes one of the challenges that they face is translating those big ideas into strategies and then the bite-sized steps that lead to successful execution and implementation. And that's what a strategic planning process does. It helps take those big ideas, really clarify them so that they can be in shareable form, and then it helps people translate that so that a team can get around it and execute it. I think without that translation, some ideas just never really get off the ground.
Wow. Yeah, you said a mouthful. Because you're right. We can see what we'd like the future to become, but in terms of how to actually get there and how to get the folks on board to make it happen, it's a different story. And so I appreciate your expertise in that regard. What do you have coming up by way of assistance for nonprofit leaders?
Yes, so the COO team really saw that after working with high net worth donors and just really being in a community of philanthropists, saw that there needs to be a process for organizations that don't have rhythms of doing strategic planning. There needed to be a way for organizations to be guided through a process. If people, sometimes organizations have board members that will lead them through that. Other times they may hire a consultant that can come in for a season. That can get quite pricey. Our goal was to create a mechanism for leaders to get the strategic plans that they need, but at an affordable rate and through a communal process. So we developed a strategic accelerator called the COO Team Strategy Academy. And what we do is we bring together organizations to really walk through a step-by-step process to build their strategic plan. Each week, we do some training, and we provide a framework and a workbook and guidance so that each organization can really clarify three things: their scope, and then their strategy, and then their systems for how they will implement their strategic plan.
Scope, strategy, and systems.
Yes. So we actually, we just launched our next round this week, and we are still accepting applications for organizations that might want to go through it. It's a 90-day process. We felt that it's important for us to not let the time be so long that organizations can't commit to it, but then to give it enough time for leaders to really dig into the nuts and bolts of their organizations, to make some critical decisions after having really thoughtful discussion around what they need to do as an organization. So I love it that we are able to guide folks through a process so they don't have to either Google it and say, well, I need to do a strategic plan, but where do I get started, and feel like they have to do it themselves. We're able to help with that lift.
Yeah. Interesting, particularly in thinking about COVID-19, right? And where a lot of organizations have found themselves, it's an interesting space because their need to exist has been highlighted, right? But their capacity has been somewhat diminished.
Yes.
How do you see yourself kind of filling that gap?
Absolutely. So, this is kind of, it highlights really the importance of having a strategic plan to begin with. So when organizations are kind of doing the work, they're busy, rolling up their sleeves, but shooting from the hip without a plan, when you have unexpected disruptions like COVID-19 that limit some of what you can do, it kind of sends organizations for a tailspin because there's not a guiding principle or a guiding there's not a guide for what they're doing, why they're doing, who they're doing it with, and so it ends up being so disorienting. So what we're inviting people to do is to pause and check in. So if you have a strategic plan, most likely some of it is out of date and irrelevant because the landscape has changed. And for those that don't have one, it's now time to get real crystal clear on what you're doing, who you are called to serve, who are some potential partners that you can team up with. What I find is that these heavier and more in-depth questions are questions that people usually don't ask in day-to-day life. You know what I mean? They're busy executing, busy running program, busy fundraising and doing development. But when crisis comes, it kind of can show that we may actually have some gaps within our organization.
Yeah,
so
vulnerability.
Exactly. And so it's almost like the process itself provides an opportunity for organizations to take inventory of where are we?
Yeah.
Where are we strong? Where are we weak? What are the opportunities that have now emerged because the landscape has changed? And what are the threats that could really blindside us if we don't stop and take a look at them? Weaknesses and threats need to be mitigated, and opportunities need to be seized, because I've heard this statement. I think it makes me chuckle every time I hear it, but opportunity is like a bald-headed man with a long nose. You've got to catch him while he's approaching you, because afterwards you can't grab it once he's walked past. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't that kind of like a neat word picture?
It is.
So I say, instead of being head down, totally engrossed in the work, it's good to lift up our eyes, look at all of the elements methodically of our organization, and then make some decisions. Clarify and make some decisions so that not just you, but the team that you serve can execute.
Wow, it has me thinking about the first interview we sat with Brenda Andrews, who is in charge of this incredible newspaper, been around for 120 years. It's the third oldest black newspaper in the country. And you think about 120 years, what all the newspaper has survived. And she talked about how she did not want it to be a part of her legacy that the newspaper would no longer exist and be defeated essentially by COVID-19, right? So she had to make a tough decision to suspend distribution for 6 weeks so that, so that it could go on past that point. What a critical moment for her as a leader, right? So I hear and feel what you're saying, in terms of the decision-making process that I know many are undergoing, that I'm undergoing with regard to the work. And I appreciate that. I hear you saying we hold hands through this because we recognize this is not easy.
It's not.
And even as we look at, the various phases, right? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, is that part of how you're helping business owners and community leaders to navigate as well, getting super specific about, how we re-engage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yes. And what I find is sometimes because of our passion, because of our love for the work, we can get so close to it that we no longer really have eyes to see things critically. There's a really great book called Necessary Endings. It's by Dr. Henry Cloud, and in that book, he talks about how sometimes you have to prune. If you think about a rose bush, in order to get the best out of the bush, you have to kind of cut off some of the buds that are zapping the energy and the resources of that bush, so that the resources of the bush can go to the places of most potential. And what happens is, as leaders, when we we fall in love with different parts of our services or our products or even certain partnerships or ways of doing things, because we've always done them that way, we can end up holding on to them into obsolescence. So what's really important to do in a strategic planning process, it puts everything on the table. And that can be scary for a leader. So what we do is we walk with you to look at everything. And we're not saying we're going to throw everything away. What we're going to do is take a critical look at all of the pieces to determine what needs to be pruned and what can be dialed up to be more fruitful. And that process, to have guidance through that, can be really helpful, and then also to be able to do that in a learning environment with other executive directors that get it. When we do a strategy academy, we incorporate organizations from all across the country. As far west as Portland, Oregon, as far south as Atlanta. We've had folks from Chicago, different places, Virginia, Ohio, and you get that cross-pollination that happens when leaders come and they bring their strengths, they bring their challenges to the table to say, we're going to all look at all of the pieces of our organization, and we're going to be real thoughtful and strategic about it so that we can increase our impact. Every organization wants to be more impactful. They want to grow their footprint, wants to serve, more clients and serve them better. But that does not happen without reviewing, all of the elements in figuring out what needs to be improved, what needs to be pruned or adapted, so that again, you can capitalize on the opportunities, mitigate the weaknesses, avoid the threats, and really leverage your organization's strengths. The other thing, too, I think, is this is a really unique time. We are definitely in a cultural moment where a lot of kind of underlying things have kind of simmered and boiled to the surface. And so I would say that the organizational landscape is different for that reason, in addition to the pandemic. And so this is a time for us to really take inventory of what do we have to offer, and how can we best leverage what we have for now. And so I'm really calling all leaders to be strategic. Like, don't just be in the moment, but be strategic so that this time can be leveraged for greater impact and greater service in your respective areas.
Yeah. In the 2 minutes that we have remaining, I know it always goes by super quick when we're on the air together. Please share how it is that you can be reached, and how we can connect to the Strategy Academy.
Yes. So we can be reached through the COOteam.com, the COOteam.com. On our website, we enable anybody who's interested in having a initial conversation. We can hop on a Zoom call or a phone call and really talk through your organization's challenges and opportunities, and really think through how you can navigate those. And then also, quite practically, we are starting our Strategy Academy Accelerator. And so if anyone is listening and does not have a strategic plan, or has an outdated strategic plan, or might be kind of reorienting themselves due to the pandemic and or this kind of cultural moment that we're in as a nation, sign up for a time today. We do a 30-minute strategic session for all applicants, just to make sure that it's a good fit for them, and that they are a good fit for the accelerator, and we can move forward. We exist to help leaders lead and build their capacity. So that would be the best way on the COOteam.com. The COOteam.com. The COOteam.com. Man, Lori, I'm so excited that you exist. Seriously, it just gives testament to the fact that, we need each other. We always need each other. We need each other even more so now. And so glad that you are here, and very grateful for the work that you do. Thank you. Well, thanks so much, Blair. I appreciate you, and I appreciate this wonderful radio program.
Yes, indeed. Well, I want to definitely shout out our guest for today, Ms. Brenda Andrews with the New Journal and Guide publication. Thank you so much for appearing on our show. Certainly our Money Talk segment with Apex Financial Group and Mr. Michael Gray. The financial literacy tips were important and spot on. And then, of course, Lori Ruffin, thank you so much for the work that you do with the COO team. And thanks for tuning in to Black Wall Street Today, where we're building minds, we're building connections, and we're forging the path ahead toward business success in the Black community. We'll look forward to talking next week.
Stay with us online at Black Wall Street Today on Facebook and Black Wall Street Today on Instagram, and then follow us on Twitter as well at BWST Today. We look forward to talking again next week. Have a wonderful week. I have said, and I will continue to say, that the most important priority for the Black community is the Black community, not a particular political party. Phenomenal.
Hey, yo, when I say Black, you say Wall Street. Black Wall Street. When I say Black, you say Wall Street. Black. When I say Black, you say Wall Street. Black. When I say Black, you say Wall Street. Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street.